Fakat koristim svaki dan. And I didn't even know I was saying it. I don't know why I say it. I don't even really know what the meaning is behind it. Starimoi, jesi vidio tekmu? Recite mi što je ono i zašto to koristim. Hi everybody, I'm Sarah, a Canadian that's been living in Croatia for almost 10 years now. Through the past decade, I have been trying to learn as much Croatian as I can. I've gotten to the point where I can communicate pretty well. It's by no means perfect, but I've really tried my best to get to a point where I can communicate with people. So I want to share with you some of the really common words and slang words that I've picked up on and that I use in my everyday vocabulary, so that if you're learning Croatian, that you can kind of start putting these words into use in your everyday vocabulary and you'll instantly sound just a little more local. So let's get started with the list. Fakat. Fakat, fakat, fakat. It's not a bad word. I know what you're thinking. When I first moved here and I kept hearing everyone say fakat, fakat, fakat. Little kids were saying it, old grandmas were saying it. I kept hearing it all around me and I was just thinking that everyone was saying not a nice word. So it turns out fakat really just means really. So people were just saying, oh, to je fakat lijepo. That's really nice. To je fakat skupo. That's really expensive. To je fakat super. That's really great. And so I've started using it now too, and I use it all the time. Fakat koristim svaki dan. But it definitely weirded me out in the beginning. But I just want to point out that this one is more Zagreb based, not the whole of Croatia. So if you're in Zagreb, go ahead and use fakat, but the rest of Croatia, I guess, doesn't really use it. Another one that's very common in Zagreb is kaj ima, kaj radiš, what's up, what are you doing? Or if you're with your friend and they just did something crazy, you can say, pa kaj si ti lud? What are you, crazy? So it's just a substitute for what, and it's a very local kind of word. So if you're in Zagreb and you want to sound like a local, just throw in some kaj, and you'll fit right in. Next one, fora. I like this one, and I use it all the time. Fora, to je fora, to je fora, fora, fora. Fora, if something is cool, you say fora. Baš je fora. Fakat fora. Hey, together, really cool. Fakat fora. Fora ideja. Cool idea. It's a kind of a universal cool. Fora can also kind of mean like a trick or a joke, and so if you say something or your friend told a joke, you can say like, oh, to je dobra fora. Oh, good joke. Or they played some kind of trick, you can do the same thing. So it can also mean joke, but more commonly I would say it's used as, oh, fora, cool. Starimoi, starimoi, starimoi. Starimoi, jesi vidio tekmu? Hey man, did you see the game last night? I hear Ivan saying this one a lot, which is why it comes to mind. I don't really use this a lot, but I really hear it a lot. I think it's kind of used to kind of like grab someone's interest into what you're going to say. Starimoi, nećeš moći vjerovati. Starimoi, to je bilo nevjerovatno. So you kind of just use it as an entry to a sentence when you're speaking with a friend to kind of emphasize what's coming next, maybe. But yeah, if you want to sound like a local, start your sentences with starimoi when you start talking to one of your friends. The next word I use all the time. I don't know what I would do without it in Croatian. I really need it when I speak Croatian. Ovaj. It means literally this. And I'm not talking about when it's used in an actual sentence like, this is my phone. It's used as a replacement for or ah. And I just think it sounds so much better than it's so much better. I use it 500 times a day, I think, when I'm speaking Croatian. If I can't think of the word like, oh, znate taj, kako izgleda? Ne mogu sad sjetiti, crvena je. So maybe that was a bad example, but it's just kind of used as a filler, as an to get you through a sentence when you're trying to think about a specific word or what you're gonna say next. And I love it, I use it all the time. Joj is the next one, and I use this one on a daily basis as well. It can be used in a positive way, joj, to je super. Or it can be used in like a negative way, like joj, to nije dobro, joj. So it just depends on how you're saying it and if people will think it's positive or negative. It's kind of just like a universal reaction to something. I think it's probably more used in the negative way, like if you spill something, if you break something, if someone tells you about something that's happening in their life that's not positive, joj, žao mi je, joj. It's kind of just like, like that, I guess, would be the direct translation, like, So that would be kind of like the sense where you would use it. But joj is a big one, and you'll hear it all over. To je to te ja pitam. That's kind of how it's said. So I don't know that I use this one as much, but I hear Ivan say it sometimes. And so if people are talking and they say they've done something, but to, super, odlično, bravo. Like, wow, like that's great, awesome, yes, like yes. You're agreeing with them in a really positive way. Like you're just acknowledging that positivity. And so that is to. The next word is one of my favorites in Croatian. It is Polaco. I just love how people aren't as rushed here. And this word just perfectly describes that kind of mentality. If you're like rushing to get something done, you need to like do this quickly, do that quickly. If someone sees you doing that, they'll say, Polaco, slow down, take it easy, it's okay. If you say like, I'm like running 10 minutes late, Polaco, it's okay, don't rush, take it easy, no problem. Polaco. It just gives the feeling of ease, it's okay, don't worry about it. And I really like that. I like when people tell me Polaco, and I like telling people Polaco. I think that really is a good kind of word for the Croatian culture. Polaco. It's a great word, and I wish English had like an equivalent, just all-encompassing word like that. Aime. Aime meni. Aime. Aime is also another one that is used to express like, oh my goodness, aime. Aime, aime, šta je se dogodilo, aime meni. This one can also be in a positive or a negative way. You see like a little tiny baby and you can say, Aime, kako je slatka. It's so cute. Or you can say like, Aime, aime meni, šta ću ja sada? Like, oh my goodness, what will I do now? So it can be a positive or a negative, but you're gonna hear Aime. The next one is ono. I also use this one all the time. And it was hard for me to even think of what it actually meant when I was using it, because we don't really have that, I don't think, in English. If someone can think of the exact kind of translation to that in this kind of slang way, let me know in the comments below, because ono, it actually means that, but it's not used just to say that. It's used kind of at the beginning of a sentence when you're saying ono, kad ja želim nešto reći, ono, kad koristim ono. I think I most frequently use it at the beginning of a sentence to start a sentence. It's just like a beginning filler to the beginning of the sentence, and I don't even know why I use it. And I didn't even realize I was using it either until I watched a video clip of myself saying it multiple times. And I didn't even know I was saying it. I don't know why I say it. I don't even really know what the meaning is behind it. But it's worked its way into my vocabulary, and now I can't stop saying it. I say it all the time. Ono, ušlo je u moju glavu. Recite mi što je ono i zašto to koristim, jer ja ne znam. This one is used way more in Dalmacija. It's not really used in Zagreb, but we have spent a lot of time recently in Dalmatia, and I heard a lot of I. And so this is kind of like you're agreeing with what the person is saying when they're saying it, so you're just kind of giving confirmation while someone is speaking. And I heard this very often throughout our recent travels. I just don't know why, but this time I really picked up on it. I haven't started using it here in Zagreb, but I just really noticed it a lot in Dalmatia. Would you like some coffee? Moji. Would you like some cookies? Moji. The first word is Moji. It's probably one of the most common words you'll hear if you are in Croatia. Moji, moji, moji. It kind of means yes or okay or sure. It's just kind of a positive response to a question. I say it all the time. If someone asks me for something, I just say Moji. It's just easy. And I hear my kids say it all the time to Baka and Dida. Moji, Moji, Moji. It's a very, very, very common word here. It's funny, one of my friends who lives in the States now, he used to live in Zagreb with his wife. He once ordered groceries online from a grocery store here. And you check off whatever you need, so he didn't have to call anyone, he just did it online. And then I guess a few minutes later, the person from the grocery store called him, and I think they were out of a couple things, and so they just kind of went through the list of switches that they would make and if that was okay with him. He didn't really know what the person on the other line was saying, but he just knew that Moji would fix it all. And he said the entire conversation from the time he picked up the phone, he just said Moji, Moji, Moji. And so he just said Moji the entire conversation, and then his groceries were delivered. And it was all good. So if you're in Croatia and you're in doubt, just say Moji. So that's my list of the top words that I hear every day, and I use most of them as well. If I missed some major ones, please let me know in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed the video.